Well, three-time All-Star Kevin Youkilis spent a decade in the big leagues. He rode off into the sunset as a player following the 2013 season and has been very busy since, as he'll tell us himself. Kevin joins us on MLB Tonight. So with all the ex-teammates that you had in the big leagues, and I'll even count your minor league ex-teammates, and you played a long time, a decade, who were among the first players to try to fly you for free beer when they learned that their ex-teammate had his own label?
Oh wow, that's a good question. Nick Punto, good buddy, and then David Wells had been in Loma, so pretty cool to have those two guys come in there.
That's awesome. Putting it all together there. Hey, speaking of ex-teammates, I want to ask you about one who you never actually took the field with, but since your last year in the big leagues was with the Yankees, and technically you were teammates with Derek Jeter, though you guys were hurt at different times and never took the field together, you knew him more as an opponent. So when I ask you, what was it like playing against Derek Jeter, and when did you know, at what point did you know he was as good as he was? How would you respond to that?
Great question. I mean, I think everyone got to see his excellence over the years. He was there before me, so when I got up to the major leagues, he was one guy that I was really excited to just go against and play against, and just stand at second base and Derek Jeter tell you, "Hey man, nice swing." It was one of the coolest things ever. I'll never forget that moment. But he was just such a great competitor. Just always battled every at bat. Was a tough out in the field. Would just try to do all the little things to make the plays. And I was so lucky to play with him on the WBC team, and that was just such a cool experience getting to play with him. And just I think all the guys around the major leagues just totally respect Derek Jeter for all the things he did on the field. And for me to have that experience of playing on the same WBC team and representing USA together was one of the best moments of my career.
Yeah, I've heard you talk about your WBC experience really reverentially and fondly in the past. That is one of the things, unfortunately, that this COVID-19 pandemic has taken away from us. It was scheduled to come up in the radar pretty soon, and that's going to be put off indefinitely now. I don't know how many of your ex-teammates or how many current players you speak to, but what do you make of the current situation, and are you optimistic that we'll have baseball this year?
Yeah, this has just been an unbelievable a turn of events for sports, but just every business in general. I mean, dealing with my business, a loan brewing company, and all the hardships of having to lay people off, it's been really rough. And I think sports have been so huge to our society and entertaining us and keeping us away from the pressures of our jobs or relationships and all the other little things that we deal with. And it's kind of sad. I mean, especially with the WBC, I think it was one of the coolest experiences because you're representing your country and playing against even some of your own teammates. And I thought that was always the most fun part, was going up and facing a pitcher that was on your own team. And so you had little bragging rights when you get back to your respected ball clubs. So yeah, it's tough. But for me, I'm always trying to be optimistic that something will happen. But it just seems like, just reading through all the fine print that's going back and forth, it doesn't look as optimistic in my opinion. But like, during this time, we've learned that what you feel today is going to change a week from now. So hopefully I feel great a week from now, and the players in Major League Baseball come to an agreement and we get to see some baseball this year.
Yeah, really good point. Hey, before we let you go, not that you have a lot of free time running your own company with this burgeoning beer business on your hands, but you're getting into the podcasting world as well, we understand. So I want to know, on your podcast, did you have information and did you let your listeners know when your brother-in-law was on the verge of signing and leaving New England and signing in Tampa Bay? Did you kind of peek into the curtain of that for your listeners a little earlier than the rest of us schlubs read about it in the newspaper?
The funny thing about that is the podcast is going to be called the Greek God of Hops podcast. It's going to launch here on June 1st with Mudhouse Media. That's with two D's, mudhousemedia.com. And, with Tommy, he kept it pretty quiet with us. We've always just sat back and just let him do his thing. And, for me, I don't put a lot out there on social media just because we don't want to talk. too much. We don't want to give off too much information. Tommy is very good at keeping it all in house, and he did a great job.
Very good, very good. Your family sounds a lot like mine, by the way. You just gotta keep, you just gotta swallow everything, man. Uke, it's good to talk to you. Good to see you, man. We'll look for the podcast, Greek God of Hops. We'll look for the beer, and we appreciate you taking some time with us, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. LomaBrew.com and Loma-coffee.com. Check it out, and if you're in California, swing on by.